In today's episode, we speak with Dr. Charlene Smith about the benefits of Mayan abdominal massage, discover how it realigns your uterus to improve menstrual flow and fertility, and Dr. Charlene gives us an insight into the history of birth control in the United States. Tune in for an enlightening discussion on Unapologetically Woman. Welcome to Unapologetically Woman, the podcast where women come together to share their unfiltered experiences navigating womanhood. Join us as we dive into candid conversations about periods, perimenopause, postpartum bleeding, miscarriages, and more. This is a safe space where we embrace the raw, real, and often unspoken aspects of being a woman. Get ready to be empowered, inspired, and heard. This is Unapologetically Woman. Welcome back, everyone. I am here with Dr. Charlene Smith, a senior dating coach, author, and TV producer and host. And she is going to talk to us about how she dealt with her period symptoms through Mayan massage. Thank you so much for being here with us and taking the time out to share your expertise.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity because our women in particular don't get this information, and I'm so happy to be able to share it.
Oh, thank you so much. Because when I saw Mayan massage, I'm like, wait, what was that? Like, oh my, I was excited, to hear about this healing technique, and it's like about laying hands and massage. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is so beautiful. And as a dancer, that really touched me.
Yes.
To learn about that. So I am just really excited to hear more about your story. And this starts with how you experienced your period, that you even came upon this. So what was that like for you? What age were you, and what was the time? Where were you? How was it viewed by society?
Well, of course, I am of the baby boomer generation. I was born in the 50s. And so talking about periods was almost taboo. People did talk about it. We had these classes in elementary school that talked about, as you mature, you have your menstrual period, but it didn't really tell us a whole lot. It told us we were going to have one, but nothing really about the experience, what to look for and those kinds of things. And then even what to do if you do start to bleed. Now, my mother had gone to school. She had us, so she was kind of ahead of her time. She went to nursing school with 3 children. And in there, she learned that you need to have communication with your children. So I was lucky in that she prepared me that, as I got older, I was going to have this thing called a menstrual cycle. It's going to come every month, and sometimes it may not be such a good time, and so on and so forth. So I was about 11 years old, not quite 12. So I was a little early having my cycle. But when it came on, I was like, Mom, I'm bleeding. I think this is my period. And she went right away and gave me sanitary napkins and told me how to keep myself clean. So I was fortunate. But what she didn't prepare me for was the pain I was going to have and the hormonal changes that were going to happen and the urges that were going to happen. Because, our menstrual cycle is part of the reproductive process. That little egg is coming down and all ready to be fertilized. And your body is like, okay, we need to be having sex so we can make a baby. And I didn't expect that. I didn't know what those urges were. But as I got older, she did talk to me. But I had really difficult periods, even at the beginning. I had a heavy flow. I had cramps. Sometimes they were so bad, I was in the bed with them. And you were saying ibuprofen. Ibuprofen didn't do anything for me. Now, birth control pills were a new thing in the 60s. And my mother, being a nurse, she found out that birth control pills was a good way to manage cramping type menstrual periods. And so I started on the pill early, even though I wasn't sexually active. But it didn't necessarily help my hormonal changes. And so for most of my life, until my probably mid 50s, I still had cramps and difficult periods. It eased it. The birth control pills eased it. But then at some point they were saying, well, you can't take the birth control pill for very long. So then I was like, okay, then I just have to go natural with it. And then I had fibroids. I don't know if it's because I started the pill early or what, but I had fibroids, and that made me bleed even more. So before I had my hysterectomy, I had gone out to dinner with a girlfriend, and I was sitting there, and I already had 2 pads on, and we're sitting there, and I'm like, oh no, I've got to go to the bathroom. And when I got to the bathroom, my jeans were soaked. I was hemorrhaging that bad. And so I always had a very difficult time with my period. Now, you know, I tried different medications, they tried different hormones, but for some reason mine, I guess with the fibroids too, probably before I ever got diagnosed with fibroids, that was part of the problem too. Because, you know, as African-American women, we tend to have this problem with fibroids more than other women. And, you know, the way the medical field was, when I would say I had pain, I usually had white male doctors. So they kind of dismissed me. So I did not look forward to my period every month. It was a difficult time for me.
Wow. So, and it's so unfortunate that so many women have this negative experience with a beautiful healing process at a young age. And it's such a diverse negativity, you know, like, and bad experience. It's like everyone's like experience is so negative towards our periods, and it comes from women like all over the world, like, and this stigma around the period. And so it's almost as if, well, it's not almost, women are just pushed aside and like, yo, just deal with this.
Right.
And we're supposed to understand what we're dealing with and why things are happening. And it's like they don't understand. So they only tell you, oh, okay, here's a pill for you. And it's eating through your stomach lining because you're taking it every month. And it's like that is that stigma that we want to try to recreate, right? We want like women, you know, because girls, once you hit that, you're a woman. Okay, I'm calling you a woman.
Right.
All right.
That's right. Yes.
All right. You hit this phase, you're a woman, and you need to understand what's happening is a beautiful process. It is a healing process for you. It gets you on track. So you know how to be productive. You know how to manage your time as a woman. So harness it and embrace it when you're young. And with that being said, we're going to take a quick break. And we're going to come back, and Dr. Charlene Smith is going to allow us to understand how we can start harnessing that beautiful energy every single month with Mayan massage. So stay tuned.
Welcome to Unapologetically Woman, the podcast where we dive into all things related to women's health, empowerment, and success. I'm Ms Tonya, a dedicated life coach using menstrual cycle synergy to help women executives, women entrepreneurs, and corporations, helping them establish better policies to accommodate women. If you are enjoying today's episode and want to stay updated with our latest content, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell so you never miss a new video. Share this video with a woman who would benefit from our discussions. We're always looking to grow our community and empower more women. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below sharing the insights you gained from today's episode. And don't forget to like this video to show your support. Want to be a guest on our show and share your story? Visit our website or find the link in the description to express your interests. Thank you for being part of our community. Subscribe now, click the notification bell, leave a comment, like, share, and join us on this empowering journey. If you're ready to take the next step towards your own empowerment, book a free 15 life coaching session with me. Visit www.mstonya.com to schedule your session today. For corporations looking to support women's health, I offer consulting services to help implement better policies. Remember, this episode is part of our launch episode series, and new episodes are released and premiered twice a week, every Wednesday and Thursday at 6 p.m. If you're starting your day or winding down after work, we're here to inspire you. Stay tuned for more empowering conversations on Unapologetically Woman.
All right, we are back with Dr. Shar, and she is going to tell us how we can deal with our periods in a very holistic and beautiful manner every single month through Mayan massage. So, Dr. Shar, earlier you were telling us, how you were having a horrible experience with your periods, and then understanding, that horrible experience was most likely from fibroids, and understanding how to cope with what was going on at that time. You ended up getting into Mayan massage. I'm curious, how did this happen in your life?
Okay, so I was working federal service. There's a little story to how it all came about. So I was working federal service, and I was getting so sick because my job was just terrible. My supervisor was awful. I mean, I would get physically ill going in. So I knew something had to change. And I took a trip to Hawaii, Maui, and I was sitting on the beach, and I was like, Lord, I just don't know what I'm going to do because I'm just not happy. And this voice, God's voice, spoke to me. I was on the beach by myself, and God said, those waves are going to go in and they're going to go out. That sun is going to go up and it's going to go down. You can be happy or you can be sad. And I'm sitting there going, who is talking to me? Because it was crystal clear. And I was like, well, I'm tired of being so unhappy. What am I supposed to do? And the voice of God said, massage. And I was like, okay, I'd never thought about being a massage therapist, but I had had a lot of experience living in Europe with massage. And so I knew it was a healthy thing. And I said, well, God, if this is you, I'm sorry, but I need verification. And so I said, I'm going to talk to my sister when I go back to the room. And if her reaction is good, then I know this is you. So I go back to the room and I said, what do you think about me being a massage therapist? And she said, oh, you'd be great at it. And I was like, that must have been God because my sister doesn't play. And so I was like, okay, got back to Texas and started looking up massage therapy schools. And there was a class starting within 2 weeks. And there was a friend of mine that was wanting out of her job too. And so we went to massage therapy school. And in massage therapy, we learned about the herbs and natural healing and, all of the wonderful things, laying hands. My hands are large. And I was like, okay, Lord, that's why you have my hands large. And a lot of energetic things happened when I got into massage therapy. Well, because I was liking the herbs and I had learned about the herbal steam baths for the vagina. Now, some people say it doesn't do anything. I felt like it helped me. And it's like oregano, thyme, basil, what we call the holy three. And you can put it in a crock pot and you can stand over it or sit over it. And then it steams the vagina. And I think it's a healthy thing to do. When I lived in Korea, they had that as part of their health regimen. So learning about herbs, there was this product that was being produced with cactus plants. I think it's Napoli cactus plants out of Belize. And so we went to this. It was really interesting because it was a beauty supply place that was introducing this new product. So me and my girlfriend went to this seminar, and the woman's name was Dr. Arvigo. And she was telling us about the herbs and how it helps healing naturally. And she's been able to combine getting business in Belize for people and selling their farming products. And then with this company, everybody was, doing better. She was doing a lot of healing. Then she wrote a book. And her book is about her experience of being in Belize. She's an expat in Belize. She'd been there for like 20 years at the time. And she's a naturopath. And she heard about this medicine man, Don Elijo. And Don Elijo would not train her initially, but she was very persistent. And after a couple of years, he started sharing his herbal information with her. And she had to promise that she would stay in Belize and help with healing in Belize. So the herbs that Don Elijo used were herbs that people had not heard about in the States. And so scientists from the States started going down there. And some of the herbs that he knew about has helped with the cancer research and other diseases. So it's documented that he's the discoverer of these herbs and what the things were. And she studied with him, and she became a medicine woman along with being a naturopath. So she started offering ecotourism. She had property in Belize with little huts and stuff. And so we went down there, and she taught us about the Mayan spiritual practices. Her farm is called Ixchel Farm. She's retired now. But I went down there and got certified with the herbal, with the Mayan prayer, and with the Mayan abdominal massage. So it's all natural healing. It has a lot to do with herbs and using your hands for healing, laying of hands for those that, may be Christian and all of that. So I made several trips down there to Belize, and the abdominal massage is an external massage. And you put your hands around the pelvic area on the outside. I'm going to stand up in a minute and kind of demonstrate it. But you're laying down, and you find your pelvic bone, and you find the center of it, and your hands are like this. And you go in, and then you grab, and then you come up like this. And so it's an external manipulation of the uterus, because the uterus, of course, this is just kind of a simple demonstration of it, but our uterus is kind of like this. This is the uterus, right? And this is where the vagina is. So the uterus is here. And sometimes it's tilted. It could be tilted forward, it could be tilted back. It might even be to the side. But of course, our body's not that perfect. But your uterus should be in alignment. So each month, as things build up, preparing for the baby, it should flush it out so that it comes down through the vagina and it goes back to the normal size. So what you're doing is, if you're tilted forward, your fingers are getting in there and you're manipulating it to get it realigned. Okay. And so it's something you do yourself. You can do it a couple of times a day. As you get your uterus realigned, you will notice that your periods, you have less cramps, less of that extra bleeding. Because what happens is, when your uterus is built, and remember I said if it's like this, as the blood prepares for the baby, it kind of expands like that. And then when it flushes, it goes back down. Well, if your uterus is like this, it's expanding and not everything is coming out like it should. So when it does finally work to come out, that's where you get all that clotting and the pain, because it's supposed to be a free flow. Okay, so you have all that buildup. And then, people start having problems where they, that material builds up and you get like I'm not a medical doctor, but you get endometriosis and all of those things. And you have to go in and do what they call the DNC, where they scrape you out. Well, they can scrape you out, but if your uterus is tilted, they're still not going to get everything. So you want to get that uterus realigned, and that can be done manually. Okay. So you're laying down when you do the procedure. So now I got my jeans on. Okay. But can you see? So you're down here and you feel your pelvic bone, and you go in when you're laying down, and then you come up like this on your abdomen. And you do that, you come up, and then you go to the side, you come up, and you go to the side. So there's 3 directions that you do. Now, if you look at your anatomy, the way that the uterus is attached, there's a lot of ligaments that some of them are attached to the back, and some of them, of course, are in the front. But you also want to do your massage so that you come all the way, all the way along your pelvic area. Okay, because you have ligaments here that attach. So you want to get all of that area loosened up. So with this manual manipulation, it may not come back perfect, but you can get it with continued practice, because our muscles have muscle memory, and the uterus is a muscle. So the first time you do it, you may even feel a little click or a little pop, okay? And you may have to kind of adjust, because if your uterus is forward, it's easy to do. But you may have to kind of do the manipulation where, because if it's retro, as they say, a retro tip, you need to kind of get in there and pull that way more than pulling this way. So you'll feel it. And I have helped women have babies that couldn't get pregnant, which just amazed me. It was phenomenal. And it's because the uterus, again, the sperm couldn't get up in the uterus and fertilize the egg. So once this was here, they were able to first flush out everything that's in there, and then the sperm could get in there to reproduce. So it's a very effective, very simple method. Now, you say, why is it Arvigo abdominal Mayan massage? Because the Mayan women were very, very smart. This is kind of a sad story, but it's an amazing story at the same time. There was a doctor from the United States, white male, was down there studying the Mayan women in the fields, and they began to trust him. And so while they were out there working in the fields, they were more comfortable just talking their talk. And, you know, women, we nurture each other. So we have our little women's circles, and they included him. And they started talking about their contraceptive, because they weren't getting pregnant all the time, but they had contraceptive. And what they found out was that the yams, which this is interesting about nature, a lot of things that are very healing for the body, the plants will tell you. What is the shape of a yam, of a sweet potato? It's usually thick on one side and thin on the other.
Yeah.
So they put that together. Now, I'm not sure of everything that they did, but the yam was the key ingredient. And I'm going to say it like this. That dude came back to the States and created birth control off of the Mayan women's secrets. Yes.
No.
Yes. So just to kind of back up a little bit. So yeah, all the herbs, there are plants that are healing, and you do the top of the plant because that's for the head. There are things that you use the middle of the plant that's for your stomach and middle area. And then the yam is for the uterine area. So, there's a lot of things with the herbs, with the natural healing. The Bible says that God put everything on earth that we need, to include the plants. And the plants do have medicinal purposes. So, even told us if a plant has a milky secretion, it's poisonous. And so they had figured all this stuff out, those women that were Mayan back in the, I want to say it was the 1800s. He went there late 1800s, because it was like the early 1900s that the birth control stuff started. But these women were sharing their ancient secrets. And so, and you wondered, how did all these ancient tribes and stuff not have like overpopulation? Well, the women were smart. They knew how to control birthing. So he brought that back to the States, and that's kind of the history behind the birth control pill. So she taught us all of that stuff, the herbal steams, the abdominal massage, all natural healing. And with my experience, I started doing that on a regular basis, even though I had fibroids, and I eventually had to have a hysterectomy, but it prolonged the time that I needed to have a hysterectomy. So I was very thankful for that relief. The fibroids just, that's just part of what I had to deal with, but I was able to prevent my hysterectomy for several years. And then when I had my hysterectomy, my doctor was like, we're going to do a total hysterectomy. And I'm like, no, I don't want a total hysterectomy. My body needs as much of my female reproductive organs as possible. And so we had a discussion about that. And I told her, I said, I can go to another doctor. I realize I have to do something about the fibroids, but you're not taking my ovaries. You're not going to do that. And so she finally agreed. And even on the day of the surgery, I said, you understand you're not taking my ovaries. I don't want a complete hysterectomy. And she said, well, what if this, what if that? I said, then I'll deal with that later. I said, but you're not taking all of my, and you know, now I don't have to take the hormonal treatment that they have women on once they get a hysterectomy. I don't take any of that. What do they call that? Hormonal, some kind of hormonal treatment. But I don't take all those pills and all that for not having a uterus. So my body is still very healthy. And now I don't know if you saw earlier, but I had my fan.
Yeah.
I still get some hot flashes, but hey, I'd rather have that because that is a natural process also. But I don't take any hormonal therapy. So I really believe that the natural healing is really the best. Now, again, I'm not a medical doctor, but if you have problems and you need that medical care, please see your physician, but one that you trust and is knowledgeable about African American women and the things that we experience. But yes, there are some things herbally and naturally and manually that you can do to relieve some of that.
That is absolutely amazing. And when you were talking about the placement of the uterus, I was like, oh my goodness, that was one of the things, unfortunately, I experienced when I was younger. Like, they actually thought I had cancer because my periods were so bad. Like, and they were saying that my uterus was tilted slightly. I think it was backwards, actually. So when you were explaining that about the clots, I'm like, oh snap, that's what is happening. Like, and so I was like, oh my gosh, like, that was amazing. That was an amazing demonstration. I do have a question for you though. For women who are in more of that backward type phase, does the same movement apply, or do you have to do it in reverse when it comes like?
One of the things they can do is get on their knees, because then that will naturally bring the gravity forward, and then they'll feel there's a little space in there they'll feel, and they can then manipulate, but they have to really practice it. But yes, that's one way to work on the reverse tilt.
Okay, awesome. Now I have another question, and this is body based because I've practiced Bikram yoga, and one of the poses is the camel pose, which is specifically it massages the uterus. It's a pose that massages the uterus, and I'm wondering, are you familiar with certain types of poses that juxtapose, like maybe an organ or anything of that nature?
No, I'm not, but I have heard of that before. And I'm like, for anything that naturally manipulates the uterus. Oh, this might be a little off a subject, but on subject. I know that women love to wear their high heels.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but you are messing up your uterus doing that. It throws your whole body's alignment off, to include the alignment of your uterus.
Oh.
So, yes. And again, remember, high heel shoes, those were kind of invented by men. Okay. But yes, that's something that Dr. Arvigo taught us also.
Oh, wow. Dang.
I know. It's okay to wear them once in a while, but I know women that wear high heels, those what do you call them, stiletto heels every day, and that's just messing up your uterus. And so that was one of the things with some of my clients, was that they were wearing those high heel shoes often. So we did a little bit of work on that. You know, wear your tennis shoes, get some shoes that support. And this is because they were trying to get pregnant, but just in general, the high heels mess up your uterus. And so they did that. They did the abdominal massage. They did the steam baths. And like I said, I had several women that were able to get pregnant.
That is beautiful. And I think that's a really great way to bring this to a closing on how these natural methods, these ancient methods can heal, like we can heal ourselves. Like and to have women have this knowledge, now that we have the knowledge, the way that we make it power is to apply it. Now we have to apply Mayan massage to our daily activities in order for that knowledge to really have power. And I'm so grateful for you because you actually showed us how we can do this. So if you're listening to this if you're listening to this on the audio platforms, make sure you go to YouTube so that you can see the demonstration. Oh man, that was amazing. Thank you so much. You will definitely be seeing Dr. Char again on Unapologetically Women.
Can I give a plug on my book?
Oh yes, absolutely. Yes.
Okay. So I'm author of Senior Seeking Soulmate. And although I don't talk about specifically the menstrual and the Mayan massage, I do talk about self-care and the herbs that really help. And a lot of those herbs are directed towards women. So it is a place to start also.
Oh man. Okay. So you know what? Make sure you go out and you get Senior Seeking Soulmate.
On Barnes & Noble or on Amazon.com.
Awesome. And those links are going to be available in the description, either on your listening platform or on the YouTube platform. You can get that directly. Go ahead, Dr. Char. Go ahead. No, dude, you are worthy. You are worthy.
One more thing. My website is seniorseekingsoulmate.com. They can contact me there. The book is for sale there. Also have a TV show on the African American Network, which is on YouTube, Roku, and Facebook. And I do have courses. And even though it's for Senior Seeking Soulmate, I do welcome younger people to come in and learn about, because the bottom line is loving yourself. That's what all of this is about, loving yourself and good self-care. So that's a big part of what I do. So even though it says Senior Seeking Soulmate, they are more than welcome to join me on 3 and 4 January. Again, they can go to all those different sites, and I have a Facebook, Senior Seeking Soulmate, so they can also go there. I am a licensed massage therapist in the state of Texas. So I don't know if anybody's in Texas, probably they are, listening and all of that. We can get together and I can do some classes for people. I don't have any problem still doing classes for the Mayan massage and get that done, because our people need to know more about this. So Dr. Arvigo, when I would go on her training, sometimes I'd be the only African-American there. And so I had the opportunity to go to Dangriga, Belize, where the Africans, they were shipwrecked when they were supposed to be going to slavery. And they told the captain of the ship, look, we ain't going, we're going to stay right here. So there's an African descendant village called Dagringa, and they still have traditional medicine women there. So I was able to get some training there too with someone with the same history as myself. So I just want to do those quick plugs there. And yes, so, health, wellness, and joy to everybody.
Yes, thank you so much. All of the links, y'all, are going to be available for, there's no excuse, okay? So make sure you save, make sure you bookmark this so that you can come back to this. Listen to this episode again. Watch this episode again and get the movement, so that you can really start to practice these healing techniques and book a session with her. If you're in the area, go ahead and book with her, okay? This is all healing. And I'm so grateful, for this awareness.
Well, thank you. I'm blessed to be able to share it, because that's one of my missions for women of colors, that self-care. And this is all part of the self-care. So yeah, and I will do classes. So if people want to get groups together, we can get some classes going.
Awesome. Oh man, I'm already thinking about ways that we can collaborate in the future.
Awesome.
And I'm definitely going to talk to you after this. So saying that, folks, thank you for tuning into Unapologetically Women. We have some business to take care of here. Catch you all later. Have a good evening.
Thanks for joining us today. Learn more about our guests in the description below. Download your free period tracker to stay in tune with your energy levels, mood, cravings, and your flow. Interested in being a guest on our show? Complete the form in the description. Leave a comment below to share your thoughts on today's episode and be entered into our surprise monthly giveaway. For women looking for a natural way to relieve menstrual cramps, try live resin gummies to ease menstrual cramps. The link is available in the description. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more empowering content. This is Unapologetically Woman.